Man, this feels familiar, but it's a different platform we got on today.
Yeah.
Notice the logo. Look at the basketball floor. We're not even going to say the other show's name, even though that's our baby too. But welcome the Postgame Podcast, where we are talking Pistons basketball, Foss, and it seems like we were just here yesterday.
Hey, just got that feeling.
We working. It's the Motor City, you know what I'm saying?
That's what we do. This
is what we do. We talk football, we talk basketball, but today we are focusing our podcast, Postgame Podcast, is exactly what it says. It's a double entendre. We are in the post. We are talking basketball, and we talking Pistons. And Foster, I'm glad you're on this platform with me again. I hope I'm not burning you out with this stuff, man. Pause if applicable. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I want to, but we're talking basketball, and I just got a couple questions, man, because it's a different feel when we talking Pistons basketball. We talk Lions, and we knew there's a different aura and feel about Detroit football, the Lions, in comparison to the Pistons basketball. There's a feeling of optimism with the Lions that's just not as prevalent here with the Pistons. Am I wrong, or do you understand what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I think there is a tad bit of optimism just because we've had a couple solid drafts the last couple of years. The return of Cade Cunningham, of course, is highly anticipated because he didn't really play last year. But I mean, if we're compare and contrast, of course, it was kind of playoff or bust as far as the Lions is concerned. And the Pistons, there's some question marks there. It's really tough to say because it's turning around a team in the NBA is a little tougher than the NFL. I mean, play a lot more games.
Well, I've been watching the games with you on a regular for the past few years. If we're not watching it together, we're inboxing and as we watch it at the same time. So
right.
It's like for a while, for me, it was like we got some good people, but maybe it's like last year I came to the conclusion that maybe we need a change in direction as far as coaching.
Yeah. The writing was on the wall.
And then Cade got hurt. Cade got hurt early, but even before that, like near the end of the season before Cade got hurt, his rookie season, I was saying, hey, I'm thinking we might need a change of direction as far as coaching and development. And we got that this year. We got a new coach. I can't remember his name. Tell me the coach.
Monty Williams.
Monty Williams. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Doing two podcasts and all these names. But we got Monty Williams. He coached at Phoenix. Got a little younger with the coach. I think he's more relatable with the youth. Cade is definitely back. And I just want to ask Foster, what are we missing? What do the Pistons have, and what are we missing to be taken serious?
A defensive identity is the one that jumps out at me. I just feel like in the personnel, I wouldn't say it's all the way there, but I think that defensively, we need some type of identity. I mean, we went in and drafted a athletic wing, which is what we direly needed it so bad. And of course, we got Isaiah Stewart, who is he's like the heart and soul of our defense right now. And then
And
we
you're
got
not going to say his nickname. You're not going to say his nickname.
nah, we're not gonna do that. But of course, Jalen Duren, who's very, very young, and he's getting there. You know, the physical gifts are there, but you know, it's tough to. I mean, he was the youngest player in the entire league last year, so I mean, it's a lot to ask for you to just take over the reins of the, you know, rim protector at the age of 17 in the NBA. So yeah, defense is a big one. And of course, you know, we didn't have Cade last year, so we didn't have our primary ball handler and star. So so yeah.
Okay. So my thing is there's something missing. And without Cade playing last year, it just made it that much worse.
Yeah.
But there's something definitely missing. You have I think the biggest problem to beginning to see was the biggest question at the beginning of the season last year was outside scoring. And I wondered how could that be with you have Cade and Bogey.
Well, we didn't really have Cade, but yeah.
And then this is before I'm talking about at the beginning of the
Like,
season.
oh, we're getting the year, yeah.
Then you lose Cade. Now you have Bogey, and he's doing his thing, but outside of that, you needed some outside shooting, and I was hoping and praying that Mr. Hayes would develop at least I don't want to say I don't know the word, at least a respectable outside shot.
Yeah.
He's made some strides because you can tell after his rookie season, his confidence was gone. He wasn't even trying to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But he had some flashes last year where he was shooting the ball pretty well, and then he had some games where it's like, oh, come on, bro.
I mean, one thing I will say is that as far as what we needed, I just think that we weren't a talent. I just don't think, especially once we dwindled down with the injuries, I just don't think we had much talent. I mean, we had guys like, I mean, Killian was our starting point guard. He was playing alongside Jaden Ivey by the end of the year. We had Corey Joseph logging a lot of minutes. We had,
Corey, because Corey did his thing when he was called upon. Like he's not going to be the prolific point guard, but he can spell your point guard when needed, and you don't lose a game for it.
I think that he's in a great situation right now. He's playing behind Curry and Chris Paul. I think that in spotty minutes on a team like that, I think that he can, but getting serious minutes on a team that's already not very that's very young and not super talented. I think that one thing I can say is that when you look at who we lost and who we brought in, I feel like we immediately improved in that regard. And of course, we're going to talk about who we got coming in.
Okay. So do we want to talk about the rosters now, current rosters, or?
Yeah, we can definitely get into it. Talk about, some rotation, some guys that might be on the outside looking in right now. Yeah.
And I hate to ask you on the spot, but do you have a current roster with you?
I do.
Okay. Run down the current roster. What we got?
Okay, so you talking about the depth chart or just who I feel
just the entire roster, and then we'll break down the depth chart after that.
Okay, so we got Cade, Cade Cunningham, of course. We got Jaden Ivey. We got Bogey, Asar Thompson, Stewart, Duren, Wiseman, Morris, Burks, Bagley, Livers, Sasser, Killian Hayes, and Joe Harris.
Detroit Basketball.
It doesn't sound like a bad roster. It actually sounds pretty good. Young, but it sounds like a good roster. Not going to go out on a limb and say championship roster or a high playoff roster or even a playoff roster, but it's a good start. The problem is we've been trying to have a good start for about 5 years. So let's get into the depth chart. Now, I have my personal starters. Pretty sure you have yours. What does it say as far as depth chart?
Okay. So we got Kate Cunningham and Jaden Ivey at the guard. You can interchange it however way you want to slice it. They have Asar Thompson at the 3, Bojan Bogdanovic at the right, at the power forward, and Jalen Duren at the 5. That is the starting 5 according to ESPN.
That is not a bad starting 5. It's
A
very young starting 5. But the problem I see with that is, well, I'm old school. So Bogey at your 4 is not ideal for me.
That's the word I was going to use.
He's not an ideal 4. I think he's more like a 3. I don't want him at 4.
Yeah, what's crazy is that I think defensively you can't win there because like a 3 is like Kevin Durant. But I think that you're good. You're just gonna have to deal with the fact that whoever he guards is gonna get busy.
At the 4, he's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the 4, he's done. I mean, if my thing is, as a 3, you can get more help. You can get more help defensively at a 3. That's your wing player. You keep him out of the paint, double, without. I don't know, man. Do
you put him at the 3 and Asar at the 4, or does Asar come off the bench? I mean, that's where it gets tricky.
Well, to be honest, my starting lineup has Duren at center, Stewart at the power forward, Asar Thompson at the small, Caden Ivey, and you bring in Bogey off the bench.
You know what's crazy? They talked about that. I can't even remember what podcast I was watching, but they said that Bogdanovic has not come off the bench since Indiana. Like even in Utah, because I feel like that possibility was thrown out somewhat, but he's pretty much always been a starter as long as he's played outside of early in his career.
I do.
But it's possible.
I agree. I have no problem with anybody having an issue with not starting, but if I'm going to play you a bunch of minutes, it shouldn't really matter.
Yeah, it's all about who closes the game, of course.
If Thompson's not ready, then you have Bogey at your 3. I'm willing to bring Thompson along slowly, have Bogey at the 3, and just I think defensively you're just going to have to suffer for a minute.
Yeah.
I'd rather have you suffer at the 3 than suffer at the 4. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, because we're talking points in the paint and we're talking rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Your 3 in today's NBA doesn't get a lot of boards. It's usually your power forward and center that's getting that's cleaning the glass. And if he's getting killed there, you can also, move him around defensively. But
because that's tricky. Yeah, because he's not gonna get many rebounds. Asar is going to hopefully cover him in that aspect of things. But yeah, it is His rebounding is not good, but he does average 20 points a game at a very high efficient rate, you know. So
And I'm gonna tell you something, Foster. Like what's I was very, very high on a player, and I think he's running out of time
okay.
here in Detroit. And there's 3 players that I feel like that are running out of time, but I was very, very high on Marvin Bagley.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
see him starting to disappear on the depth chart. Remember when we got him, I was like, that's a great pickup. And last year I was like, he needs to start. And now he's it seems like he's moving further and further the depth chart. And it's like once you get Wiseman and you get the emergence of Duran, I understand it, but I was hoping, just hoping that Bagley would just, say, okay, and fight and earn, earn playing minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because you want Wiseman to work out. You do. You hope he hit the second chance for him, gives him a chance, and gives him some kind of motivation to be considered a starter or be 6 man. But I've been hoping that Bagley turns it around, and because I was very high on him. And then the other 2 people I think are running out of chances are Killian Hayes and Livers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
See,
think
yeah.
go ahead.
I was gonna say the only saving grace that Livers has is that he does service a need that we don't have a lot of, and that's versatile defenders at that wing power forward area. And he
Mhm.
can shoot. So I feel like although
Allegedly. He
he
can shoot
shot
allegedly. His
okay. He shot
his
okay.
we
He just can't stay
wanted
healthy.
his shooting to be effective. We knew he could shoot coming in, but he hasn't quite had that though he hasn't shown that he's that dependable shooter. We know he can.
Yeah.
It just he need this year he needs I think these are players, those 3 that I mentioned. I think Killian's going to be on the first train smoking as soon as they get an offer for him. Um, with because of the roster moves, because the emergence of Ivy, the healthy Cade, you bring in Monty Morris. I just don't think that he'll be. I don't think Killian will be here. I just don't.
Yeah.
And you drafted another guard out of Houston, right?
Yeah, Sasser.
Was you drafted Sasser. I just think that's just. And then you got what's my man name from the
Morris
Knicks?
or
From the Knicks last year,
Burks.
you got Alec Burke.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't think it's not enough basketballs in the gym.
I
He
think
got to
this
go.
I think Sasser starts the year in the G League because there's just so many. We didn't even mention Monty Morris. Like that's your starting backup point guard, regardless of what happens. I'm feeling like
Mhm.
he's definitely going to be the backup point guard. You pencil in Burks at the 2, and then you still got Joe Harris, who we traded for last year. So
Hey, man, you didn't mention him, did you?
Nah, yeah, he's I mean, essentially he's at the end of the rotation when you really look at it, you
Hey,
know.
man, we got a good roster, man.
Yeah.
We have something to work with. Because you didn't mention Harris when you said that. I forget all about him, and
Oh,
we know he
in
can
the
shoot.
list, yeah, I may not have
Yeah.
I think yeah,
And we know he can shoot.
right.
That's his MO.
Yeah, that's
He's
it.
gonna get torched defensively, but
Yeah.
if you can score 30 and give up 25, it
I mean, that's what
is
I'm
what it
worried about
is.
is because we have a lot of guys that you look at it and say they can shoot, but can they get in front of anybody? Like you really got. I mean, Cade is serviceable. Um, Thompson, he's young, so it's really tough to say, how much playing time he's going to get. But past livers, I mean, we don't have a lot of guys that defend. And I do think it's a good roster when you put the whole roster on paper. I'm not mad at the roster. It's just going to be a matter of mixing the lineups in and seeing how they operate together, because not many of these guys have played with Cade, to be honest. He hasn't played with, up until the summertime. He really hadn't played with Ivy, even has not played with Wiseman a cent, like, at all. Played with Bagley a little bit that his rookie year when he got traded. Like, and you know, I don't have any questions of whether or not Cade can mix and match with anybody, but this isn't 2K. This isn't a matter of just throwing the roster out there and playing the game. Like, these guys legitimately have to play with each other. So that's my biggest that's my biggest thing, more so than the talent. I think the talent we have now is pretty serviceable. So,
and we have a new coach, and
yeah,
definitely we have players to work with. I think the future is bright. I'm just tired of the present. Like, something needs to happen. Something needs to happen. And before we go any further, Foster, let's get these bills out the way, bro.
Yeah.
It's a little quicker than usual, but it works. I like the roster. I think we're young in some areas. I just don't see a few people surviving, staying on the roster that were here last year. I mentioned those 3 players. I think Livers has more of a chance to show and prove. I think Bagley is trade bait along with Killian. And I think they'll take the first decent offer for Killian.
I also think Alec Burks, to be honest, if Killian does stick, I feel like, and then with Sasser in the, coming in this year, I think that it kind of makes Burks expendable if, we get the right move. I mean, if we get the right offer, and if Sasser proves that, like, hey, I think he's ready to get some meaningful minutes at the next level. I mean, he kind of plays that same role of spark off the bench, scoring, can play some defense. I mean, it puts us in a position to where we can kind of wheel and deal and bring in some guys that we may have areas of need. But yeah, we'll talk about those trades too as well.
Well, let's talk about roster moves, right? I'm going to give you a GM hat, right? You don't have to be player specific, but be position specific. Pause if applicable.
Okay.
So you're the GM for the GM for the Pistons.
Yeah.
And you want to make a roster move.
Yeah.
So what do you do with this current team roster wise? If you can trade using you, and you can be specific on who you want to trade, but you don't have to be specific on who you're trading for. You can just use position in that aspect.
Okay, so I would say that as far as what our biggest need right now, I would say is a stretch 4. So, like, a power 4. We got a whole bunch of big men. Of course, Duran is the center of the future. He's a true, number 5 down low post move big man. Athletic, but he's not about to shoot threes and shoot mid range and all that. So I think that the best. I think that the best fit next to him would be a big man that can stretch the floor and shoot threes. So we're hoping that Stewart continues to improve on his 3-point shooting because he is kind of limited athletically, and so yeah. But if I had a perfect scenario or a perfect style of player to go um, next to Wiseman, next to Duran, it would be a stretch four.
Okay.
And as far as who, as far as who I would trade to acquire him, one of these guards, man. We got a whole bunch of, we got Joe Harris, we got Burks, we got, of course, Sasser ain't going nowhere, but Burks and Harris, if nothing, or a Bagley, if we can swap out with a pick or something like that, a Bagley because we got so many down low post guys, Wiseman, Bagley, Duran. It's redundant, and right now Bagley is kind of looking like he's on the outside looking in. So, and he 12 points a game, 7 rebounds. There's nothing to snub your nose at as far as Bagley. So there could be a need there for somebody.
Well, I want you to keep that GM hat on because there's some mock trades that we looked up on, and I want you to check them out, Foss. And I want to hear from you. What do you do with these mock trades, right? I'm going to share them on the screen for the people that's watching, and I'll read them out loud, and you say yay or nay, and you can say why if you want to, or just say you're done. Cool with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Denver Nuggets, they call you Foster, and they say, hey, we got Michael Porter Jr. for Bogey. What are you doing?
I love it. I love it because
it'll never happen, but hey.
Yeah. I think Denver hangs up in our well, they called us, so I guess they all about it. But
it's just what if, wishful thinking.
I mean, we definitely get younger at that three slot. Michael Porter is a great shooter, of course.
Is that your stretch four?
That's the thing, though. That's not his position. He's not He's not really a defensive guy.
He's a 3.
Certainly can't play the 4. But like I said, great shooter. We get younger at that wing position. Obviously, Asar, maybe you adjust him. You would have to adjust and play with the rosters for sure because Asar and Michael Porter do play the same position. But I'm not mad at throwing in Alec Burks to make it work just because we do have a lot of depth at the guard position. And I like the fact that the 2026 pick is lottery protected. So if for whatever reason we're still not ready to make the playoffs come 2026, they can't take that pick.
My God, I hope it's I hope that's not the case. Okay, we have we have a couple more, Foster. You're not off the hook yet. So
okay.
The next scenario, you get a call from Cleveland, and I have some bad things to say about Cleveland, but I'm gonna leave it there. You get a call from Cleveland, and they ask for Alec Burks for Isaac Okoro, 2025 second round pick, 2026 second round pick. What are you doing, Foss?
Okay, so I'm struggling to read it. So they're giving us all these picks, or are we giving pick for all those picks?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not a big Isaac Okoro guy. The one nice thing I can't say about him is I think he does play some defense. He was a lottery pick actually, or he was a first round pick. I don't know if it was lottery, but he was
he's a lottery pick.
And he has not really proven much. Damn. I mean, I do like the fact that they are just giving. I mean, these picks are kind of just, whatever.
They're too much. There's no way these are happening. But it's good to imagine, and they might call you for a GM job, and you might need an assistant.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, it gives us depth at the three position, because I did say we didn't have much defense at the three, and they're throwing in these miscellaneous picks that I guess we can flip and throw into another trade as well. But I'm gonna say no. I like Alec Burks. I like Alec Burks, and I think that we can do better. I think we can do better for Alec Burks than that.
There you go, Foss. Don't be a pushover, bro.
I was thinking,
all right. Here we go.
The
Knicks, they hit you up. They say, hey, we got Evan Fournier and a 2024 first round pick, top 18 protected. So only 19, almost a second round pick. For Bogey, what are you doing?
The biggest thing for me, first
We got too many guards.
Before Fournier went to New York and Tom Thibodeau ruined him as a player, this would have been a more linear move. But I just have no idea what Evan Fournier has left, because he has not played. He hasn't played since he got traded from the Magic. So, as far as player for player, I mean, Bogey's averaging 20 points a game. We know what he's bringing every day. Evan Fournier, I feel like the only nice thing about that is I think his contract is expiring, so we would only keep him for a year. But nah. And then the fact that if for some ridiculous reason the Knicks, who I think are pretty good, if they don't make the playoffs, we don't get the pick. So I think we would be safe on the pick. Because I feel like they would be damn good with Bogey. But it's kind of risky, considering Fournier is basically, he might ride the bench in Detroit if he came here, to be honest. So once again,
I very, very guard here.
Yeah, and because he's so bad defensively, you can't even move him down to the three, because I mean Fournier is 6'7". He's tall enough to maybe play the three, but defensive wise, I think his best position is the two. So now once again, I think we could do a lot better for Bogey.
Foster, you drive a hard bargain at this GM position. I think you've gotten arrogant. This is the last one, though.
Okay.
This is the last one. We got one.
I like that first one, though.
You 1 out of 3 isn't bad. But here's the fourth one and final.
They keep trying to trade my dog, Alec, man.
The Memphis Grizzlies, they call Foster and they say, hey, we got Brandon Clark and Zaire Williams. Give us Alec Burks. What are you doing, Foster?
So I like the idea of Zaire Williams. I'm not terribly familiar with him, but I know he is a wing. I want to say he was a first round pick, and he's a ceiling guy. He's a guy that we know hasn't reached his peak and possibly could reach his peak in the right situation. And obviously it covers a need as far as that three position. Brandon Clark, I think it becomes a redundant thing because he's just another low post. Exciting, fun player to watch. He's a big dunker and all that. But I think that he is a little bit redundant as far as all the power forwards and big man, because I don't think he stretches the floor very well. I'd have to do my research. Actually, I'm going to try to do my research really quick if I can find it.
Okay, little Reese. Do your research, bro.
Right. No, oh my God, no. He's terrible at stretching the floor. Yeah, nah. So he's just another Bagley, honestly.
So you're saying no to that one as well?
Nah, yeah, it's
2 for 1.
That might be the worst one. No, Okoro, yeah. No, I think it's somewhat intriguing, but uh, maybe at the trade deadline. Maybe at the trade deadline where we know that, because I think Burke. Do you know what contract Burke is on? I'm not 100% sure
I do not.
if it's expiring or not, or if he got it. Because I know we re-signed him, so I don't know if we re-signed him for one more year. But we could be looking to move. We could be looking to move him with this contract expiring. So um, I don't know. He's getting up there, and we got Sassers in the rear. We got pause Sasser in the rear, but
Yo.
but so yeah, we'll see. It's all right now. It doesn't look appealing, but ask me in a couple months after watching our guys play and to see where we're at in that whole playoff picture situation, and I may have some different answers when it comes to these trades. So we will see.
There you go. Foster is your GM, and he had made a few calls. He told you who he would trade for. We gave him some mock trades. He turned them all down except one.
Except for the first one. That first one looked good.
I think you'll be a good GM one day, man. And if you ever need an assistant, man, just I'll let you mans. You know what I'm saying?
I'll throw you a few dollars, man. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I need is just a few. I have a big question, boss, and maybe you can break it down for me. What are we doing with Wiseman? What's his ceiling? What's his floor?
Okay, so I definitely think that Wiseman is going to get an opportunity. I think he's definitely getting an opportunity to play. I feel like Wiseman and Bagley are kind of like right here as far as whatever. But I do think that Wiseman is going to get that look just because he's the new trade addition from last year. And I want to say Weaver was looking at him in the draft. He had his eye on Wiseman in the draft. The year that he came out, I want to say that he had his eye on him. So I think that Weaver is looking to see if he can be the spark and bring Wiseman to what he could have been had he went to a more comfortable situation. So as far as the ceiling, 16 points maybe a game is a ceiling. Not saying that that's what my predictions are, but I do think that he has some potential. I mean, he's a 7-footer and not much of a shooter and a little on the clumsy side from what I can see, but he was not a lottery pick. He was not a lottery pick by accident. There was some reason, and just hopefully we can find some minutes for him. And in the meantime, boost Bagley's trade, is his trade stock, because I think we got too many. I think we got too many big men. We just paid Stewart, so Stewart is around for the foreseeable. Yeah, he's around for the foreseeable future. So we gotta fill in some of these gaps we got.
I think if you look at the core, right?
Yeah.
And when I say core, I mean you have 4 people that you've invested in, draft wise. Duran, right? That's 1. Asir Thompson, 2. Cade Cunningham, 3. And Ivy, that's 4. It's almost a whole starting lineup with 3 years or less of playing time. I'm going to say 2 because Cade didn't play much last year. We played, 5 games? Maybe?
So 1 year of experience, Loki.
So I think the most everybody's going into their second year just about. Except for Thompson, with him being a rookie.
Brand new.
So it's like if you can, I think the key thing is if Thompson can be a double-double guy, and I'm talking It doesn't have to be 17. It could be 10 points a game. It could be 10 points, 10 rebounds. That's a win.
I don't think you can
That's a
average
win.
10. That'd be a lot.
That's asking a lot as far as rebounds. But 10 points, I don't think that's asking a lot.
Yeah. It'd be nice if he was around that.
Around 10 points, probably about 5 or 6 rebounds a game.
Mm-hmm.
Couple steals.
Yeah, that's
Few
going to be
assists.
where it comes in. It's a couple assists. Yeah. Some blocks.
So
Maybe some blocks.
yeah, he's a good ball handler. He sees the floor pretty well. He runs the floor well. He's a good finisher. He's a baller. And then you got Ivy, Cade. I just want to see Ivy and Cade on the floor at the same time playing a lot of minutes.
I don't even remember it, honestly. Like that was such
I want to see them on the floor for a good amount of time, for a few games and see what we have. Because we didn't get a chance to see it last year. And I haven't heard anything. When does camp start?
Early October. I think October 1st, maybe. It's around there. I think I sent you the date, but I have no idea. It's October. It's coming up. And we at the end of September. So yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up. I tell you what, Foster, this is what I'm gonna do.
What's up?
One of these early games, I'm gonna get tickets. We're gonna sit up close and personal and get a good look at this team in person. Like we can watch them
up.
Yeah, we can watch it on TV all day, but I'm gonna get us tickets. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna check out a game or two. And we'll see what happens. I want to say this online, but
hey, don't
I don't want to give out details, but I do know somebody that can get us some tickets as well. So but push come to shove, if I had to buy them, I will. But I got a hookup.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I just realized at the end of the season last year that was a possibility. I actually went to a game at the end of the season for free. So
okay.
Still that person is still doing their thing. So, and it's nothing illegal. They actually work there. So
do your homework on knowing the plug.
Yeah, man. It's nothing illegal. They're not a scalper or anything like that. They actually work within the organization. And you know what I'm saying? I don't know them personally, but I know somebody that knows them, and that's how it's like third hand. So
that's all you need.
But they're still there. So I can get us in there. But even if they don't, like I said, I'll just buy tickets. I'm expecting better things than last year, and that's not saying a lot. We won 17 games.
It's really not. But hey, I think it's gonna be fun this year. I just pray we stay healthy, man. That health is everything, man.
Now, I just mentioned the record. It was 17-65, correct?
Yeah, something like it was 17. I know it's 17. That 17, sticks out in my mind. It's at 17 wins.
I think they play 82 games. Not sure. I don't know if it was 72 or 82. Yes. Did they decrease it?
No, it's 82. It was 72 the COVID year.
Okay, so it's still 82. So they went 17-65.
Yuck.
What is the ideal number for the Pistons? Ideal win number for the Pistons this year?
30.
30 a bust?
Somewhere in that 30 range. I mean, yeah, at this point, how many lottery picks are they, and how many of the picks are they going to screw us over on? We've got to remember where we drafted this year, and we had the worst record.
The worst.
We had the worst record, and we picked 7th or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, I love the pick, and I wouldn't want anything other than who we got, but it's time to start at least, thinking about the play-in, like at least, sniffing it, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make some noise. A little bit of noise, man. It's a little bit of noise.
I hate to say it, but 30 games is still nasty work, bro.
It's nasty work, but it's double. But 34 is double the last, you know.
Can we win 40, man? Come on, let's
40. Whoa. 40?
let's get back into the spirit. Let's go. 40, bro.
I think 40 wins gets you fourth in the East.
Just might.
I had to look
Just
at I had to look at the standings, but 40 because I feel like some of the guys, some of the teams that roll into the playoffs are like 500 because 41 and 41 is 500, right? 82 games, 41.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what bothers me the most?
What's that?
Is that Cleveland is so good. Like
until Mitchell
my
leaves.
buddies, I got friends in Cleveland, so I definitely have to talk bad about Cleveland, man. I don't like those. They got all the same kind of houses in Cleveland. All of it looks. All of them are colonial style houses in Cleveland, man. I can't stand Cleveland. I'm going to talk bad about Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Cavaliers. I can't stand them, man. I'm not. Cleveland, they're not the Indians anymore, but they got punked into changing their logo. But them two, don't like them. And I hate the fact that Cleveland Cavaliers are so good without, I expected them to be good when they had LeBron and
yeah,
they only got one championship with him.
Kyrie.
That's
another story.
Yeah, they only had one championship. They had the greatest player in the world, one championship. But I'm just saying, we had one championship with Chauncey. But anyway, it's the same thing. But Cleveland is really, really good. They are really good. And I can't stand it. I can't stand it. They blew us out every time we played them last year.
Oh, we were bad last year. We were real bad.
And you know what, Foster? The Cleveland game in Cleveland, we going.
Yeah.
We going to the Cleveland game in Cleveland. We're going to go to one of those. We're going to go to an away game too. How about that?
I'm with it. That's down to, that ain't, it's not down the road, but it's, it's about
it's a
3 hours.
2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Something like that. We, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and just, catch a game, drive back the next day.
Stay in the Colonial.
Stay in one of them Colonials Airbnb. Remember that time we got the
do your research.
Remember the time we got that nice Airbnb and it was a cemetery in the backyard?
Yes, yeah. The whole kind of neighborhood was kind of trapped out, but the house was beautiful.
The house was beautiful. The next street over, though, was whoa. Felt right at home in Detroit. Like Cleveland looked like the whole east side of Detroit. All of Cleveland looked like the east side of Detroit. All of them. Colonial style houses. All of them got the same kind of house. But one thing I did notice about Cleveland, I ain't going to go into. Summertime is beautiful. Like right by the lake, on the way to the mall. They were out there barbecuing. They had people under the shelters, and we go to the mall. Me and Steve went into the mall. There's a band playing in the middle of the mall, a rock and roll band playing in the middle of the mall. It was crazy. I'm like, yeah, I'm not used to this stuff.
That's the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, but enough of them, man. Enough of them.
Yeah, we gave them too much talk.
We gave them too much time, man. Foster, we gonna get out of here, man. We almost had 50 minutes, bro. And this isn't a preseason. A season preview of what's to come. When camp starts and when preseason starts, you'll see us more with the Postgame Podcast. We'll be doing more. And when the season starts, the plan is to be on once a week, not every game. It's 82 games.
Not gonna happen.
We'll be on here. We'll be on here 4 or 5 times a week because they play a lot of games. But what we'll do is we'll have a set day and we'll talk about the games during that time span from the last time we met. and we'll talk about roster moves or we'll talk player grades, we'll talk outlook, we'll do all that once the season gets in full swing. So, enough. Foster, you got anything before we get out of here?
No, man, I'm excited for the season, man. I've been itching to get a show in at soon. So I'm excited. This little discussion definitely got me ready for the season.
I'm ready to watch some basketball right now, to be honest. But we'll get into that. And basketball season's on the way.
Detroit Pistons.
We out.